Hi, my name is Shinko. Welcome to my channel. We have been attempting to escape the horrors of real life with The Warriors, Fire and Ice, the second book in the series The Warriors by Erin Hunter. If you like cats and you're interested in starting something new, you can check out my previous videos. I've read the first book already. I do feel that I have to put out there is life and death in the book, which means characters will come and go. So if you are an individual that truly can't handle really sad moments, this might not be the series for you. Please know that there's sad moments, but there's also a lot of happy moments, okay? There's a lot of wonderful moments in this series. So, we left off on we just started chapter 21. A princess just gave Fireheart, her brother, her eldest kit. And she gave this kit to ThunderClan to be raised as a warrior and trained in the warrior ways. We also, I wanted to point out something that we also happened last time when we were meeting. ShadowClan scents have been found within ThunderClan territory, but it's always the same scent. So do you think ShadowClan is actually sending out patrols, or I don't know. A lot is going to happen in this next reading, so we'll just get to it. The kit was heavier than he'd expected. It dangled from his mouth, bumping against his forelegs with faint protesting squeaks. By the time Fireheart reached the top of the ravine, his neck was aching. He made his way down to the camp, putting one paw carefully in front of the other, wary of slipping on the fast-melting snow. At the entrance, Fireheart hesitated. For the first time, he wondered how he was going to explain this kit to the clan. He was going to have to admit to visiting his kitty pet sister, but it was too late now. He could feel the kit shivering. Fireheart squared his shoulders and padded through the gorse tunnel. The kit let out a deafening wail as a thorn tugged at its fur. Several pairs of eyes turned to look in amazement as Fireheart emerged in the clearing. Both hunting parties had returned. Mousefur, Whitestrum, Sandpaw, and Brackapaw were all in the clearing. Only Graystripe was missing. One by one, the rest of the clan were drawn out of their dens by the noise and the unfamiliar scent. None of the cats made a sound. They stared at Fireheart with hostile, puzzled eyes as though he was a stranger. Fireheart turned slowly in the center of the clearing, the kit still dangling from his mouth, and looked at the ring of questioning eyes. His mouth began to feel dry. Why had he assumed the clan would accept a kit that wasn't forest-born? He felt a rush of relief when Bluestar emerged from Yellowfang's den, but her eyes widened in surprise as she saw him. "What is this?" she demanded. A tremor of foreboding ran along Fireheart's spine. He placed the kit between his front paws and wrapped his tail over it to keep it warm. "It's my sister's firstborn," he replied. "Your sister?" Tigerclaw glared at him accusingly. "You have a sister?" called Speckletail. "Where?" "The same place as Fireheart was born, of course," Longtail hissed with disgust. "Two-Leg Place." "Is that true?" Bluestar asked, her eyes widening farther. "Yes," Fireheart admitted. "My sister gave it to me to bring to the clan." "And why would she do this?" Bluestar asked with menacing calm. Fireheart stammered nervously. I told her about clan life, how great it was." His voice trailed away under Bluestar's incredulous gaze. "How long have you been visiting Two-Leg Place?" "Not long. Just since Leaf Fair began, but only to see my sister. My loyalty still lies with ThunderClan." "Loyalty?" Dark striped yowls rang out across the clearing. "And yet you bring a kitty pet here." Isn't having one kitty pet in the clan enough? Croaked one of the elders. Trust a kitty pet to find another kitty pet, snarled Dustpaw, ruffling his fur indignantly. He turned to Sandpaw and nudged her with his nose. Sandpaw glanced uncomfortably at Fireheart, and then she looked down at her paws. Why have you brought it here? Tiger Claw growled. We need warriors. The tiny kid squirmed beneath his belly as he spoke, and Fireheart realized how ridiculous he must sound. He bowed his head as yowls of scorn met his words. When the insults had died away, Running Wind spoke up. The clan has had enough to worry about already without this. It'll be nothing but a burden, Mousefur agreed. It'll be at least 5 moons before it's ready to begin training. Whitestorm nodded his head in agreement. You shouldn't have brought this kitty pet here, Fireheart, he meowed. It would be too soft for clan life. Fireheart bristled. I was born a kitty pet. Am I soft? He thought that he'd begun to challenge the clan's prejudice against kitty pets, but he was wrong. He couldn't see one friendly face in the crowd. Not one. A voice sounded from behind Whitestorm. If it carries Fireheart's blood, it'll make a good clan cat. Fireheart felt a relief surge through his body. It was Graystripe! A brief flame of hope flared in Fireheart's chest as Whitestorm stood aside and the other cats turned to look at the Grey Warrior. Graystripe stared around the circle of cats, meeting their gazes one by one with wide, steady eyes. Makes a change to see you speak up for your friend, Graystripe. Last night you wanted to shred him, sneered Longtail. Graystripe glared at the pale tabby, then whipped around as Darkstripe challenged him. Yeah, Graystripe, how do you know Fireheart has blood worthy of ThunderClan? Did you taste it last night when you tried to take a chunk out of his leg? Bluestar stepped forward, her blue eyes clouded with worry. Fireheart, I believe that you meant no disloyalty to the clan by visiting your sister. But why did you agree to bring her kit here? It is not your place to make decisions like this. What you have done affects the whole clan. Fireheart looked at Graystripe, hoping for more support, but Graystripe wouldn't meet his eyes. Fireheart craned his head around, and every cat turned their gaze away from him. Fireheart began to panic. Had he endangered his own position in the clan by bringing Princess Kit here? Bluestar spoke again. Tigerclaw, what do you think? What do I think? Meowed Tigerclaw. Fireheart felt his heart sink at the note of arrogant satisfaction in the deputy's voice. I think you should get rid of it at once. Goldenflower? It certainly looks too small to survive until New Leaf, the Ginger Queen remarked. It'll have green cough by sunrise, added Mousefur. Or it'll eat our fresh kill until next snowfall and then die of cold, spat Running Wind. Bluestar dipped her head. That's enough. I must think about this. She padded to her den and disappeared inside. The rest of the clan slipped away, muttering darkly. Fireheart picked up the bedraggled Kit and carried him to the warrior's den. The Kit was shivering and mewling pathetically. Fireheart curled his body around the little scrap and closed his eyes, but hostile faces of the clan swam around his mind, filling his heart with dread. He thought he had been lonely before, but now it seemed as if the entire clan had disowned him. Graystripe pushed his way into the den and settled down into his nest. Fireheart glanced nervously at him. Graystripe had been the only cat to speak in his defense, and Fireheart wanted to thank him. After an uncomfortable pause, in which the Kit cried and cried, Fireheart mumbled, Thanks for sticking up for me. Graystripe shrugged. Yeah, well, he meowed. No one else was going to do it. He twisted his head around and began to wash his tail. The Kit carried on mewling, his cries growing louder. Some of the other warriors padded into the den to escape the rain outside. Willowpelt glanced briefly at Fireheart and the Kit, but she didn't speak. Can't you shut that thing up? Complained Darkstripe as he prodded the moss in his nest. Fireheart licked the Kit desperately. It must be very hungry by now. A rustle on the den wall made him lift his head. It was Frostfur. She crept over to Fireheart's nest and looked down at the miserable Kit. Suddenly, She dipped her head and sniffed the kit's soft fur. "He'd be better off in the nursery," she murmured. "Brindleface has milk to spare. I could ask her to feed it." Fireheart stared at the queen in surprise. Frostfur gazed back at him, her eyes warm. "I haven't forgotten that you rescued my kids from ShadowClan." Fireheart picked up the young kid again and followed Frostfur out of the warrior's den. The rain was even heavier now. Together, they padded quickly to the nursery. Frostfur disappeared through this narrow entrance, and Fireheart squeezed in after her. He paused inside the thicket of brambles, blinking until his eyes got used to the dim light. Inside the dry, dark cocoon, Brindleface was curled around her 2 healthy kits. She looked suspiciously at Fireheart, then at the kit that dangled from his jaws. Frostfur whispered to Fireheart, "One of Brindleface's kits died last night," she whispered. Fireheart remembered the sick kit squirming beside Yellowfang and wondered, with a pang, which one had gone. He put Princess's kit down and turned to Brindleface. "I'm sorry," he murmured. The queen blinked at him, her grief raw in her eyes. "Brindleface," Frostfur began, "I can only guess at how much pain you feel, but this kit is starving, and you have milk. Will you feed him?" Brindleface shook her head and shut her eyes tight as if to deny Fireheart's presence in her den. Frostfur stretched her head forward and pressed her muzzle gently against Brindleface's cheek. "I know he won't replace your son," she whispered, "but he needs your warmth and care." Fireheart waited anxiously. The kit's cries grew louder. It could smell Brindleface's milk and began to squirm blindly towards her soft belly. It nuzzled its way between Brindleface's other 2 kits. Brindleface looked down as it wriggled forward, following her milk scent. She watched, without resisting, as he latched onto her belly and began to suckle. Fireheart ached with relief and gratitude as he saw Brindleface's eyes soften, and the white kitty pet began to purr, kneading her swollen stomach with tiny paws. Frostfur nodded. "Thank you, Brindleface. Can I tell Bluestar that you will care for the kit?" "Yes," replied Brindleface quietly, not taking her eyes off the white kit. She nudged him closer to her belly with one hind paw. Fireheart purred and bent his head to nose her shoulder. "Thank you. I promise. I'll bring you extra fresh kill every day." "I'll go and tell Bluestar," meowed Frostfur. Fireheart looked up at the White Queen, stirred by her kindness. "Thank you," he meowed. "No kit deserves to starve, clan-born or not." Frostfur turned and pushed away out of the brambles. "You can go now," Brindleface murmured to Fireheart. "Your kit will be safe with me." Fireheart nodded and followed Frostfur out into the rain. He thought about returning to his den, but until he'd heard Bluestar's decision about the kit, he knew he couldn't settle. As he paced around the clearing, his fur matting into wet clumps, he saw Frostfur slip out of Bluestar's den and hurry back to the nursery. Willowpout was preparing to lead an evening patrol out of camp when Bluestar finally came out of her den. Fireheart stopped, his heart pounding so fast he thought his legs would give way under him. Bluestar leaped onto the high rock and began the familiar summons. "Let all cats old enough to catch their own prey gather below the high rock." The patrol turned away from the camp entrance and padded after Willowpout, back towards the high rock. The rest of the clan began to leave their dry nest, grumbling about the rain. Tigerclaw leaped onto the rock beside Bluestar, his face grim. "They're going to make me take him back," thought Fireheart. His breath began to come in shallow gasps. Darker thoughts pushed their way into Fireheart's mind. What if Bluestar asks Tigerclaw to abandon him in the forest? He'll never survive. Oh, StarClan, what am I going to say to Princess? When all the cats were settled, Bluestar spoke. "Cats of ThunderClan, no cat can deny that we need warriors. We have lost one cat to Greencop already, and there are many moons until New Leaf. Cinderpaw also has been gravely injured, and she will never be a warrior, as Greystripe brightly pointed out." Fireheart heard Dustpaw whispering nearby, "Graystripe's turning into a kitty pet these days." He turned his head sharply, but a warning hiss from one of the elders silenced Dustpaw before Fireheart could say anything. "As Graystripe pointed out," Bluestar repeated, "this kitty pet carries Fireheart's blood. There's every chance the kit will make a fine warrior." Some of the clan glanced at Fireheart, who had barely heard Bluestar's compliment. Hope was surging in his chest, making him dizzy. Bluestar paused for a moment to survey the cats in front of her. "I have decided. We will take this kit into the clan," she declared. No cat made a sound. Fireheart wanted to yowl his thanks to StarClan, but he held his tongue. He took his first deep breaths on Sunhigh. His own kin was going to be part of FenderClan. "Brindleface has offered to nurse it," Bluestar went on. "So, Fireheart will take on the duty of providing for her." The clan leader met Fireheart's eyes, but he couldn't read her expression. "Finally, the kit should have a name. It shall be known as Cloud Kit." "Will there be a naming ceremony?" Mouseford called from the crowd. Fireheart looked eagerly up at Hyrock. Would his sister's kit be granted this privilege, as he had been when the clan formally accepted him? Bluestar looked out at Mouseford, her eyes cold. "No," she answered. Chapter 22. The days leading up to the next full moon dragged by slowly for Fireheart. It already seemed ages since the last gathering. Rain clouds had kept the moon covered the last time, and the clans had stayed away from fort trees. Meanwhile, patrol after patrol reported scenting RiverClan warriors at Sunning Rocks, and ShadowClan scent had been discovered again by the Owl Tree. When he wasn't hunting or patrolling, Fireheart divided his time between Cloudkit, Cinderpaw, and Brackenpaw. Even though Graystripe had resumed his role as Brackenpaw's mentor, Fireheart soon began to notice the young apprentice at loose ends from time to time. His mentor nowhere in sight. "Hunting," was all Brackenpaw would say when Fireheart asked where Graystripe had gone. "Why didn't you go with them?" meowed Fireheart. "He said I could tomorrow." Fireheart felt the usual prickle of anger at Graystripe's stubbornness, but he shrugged it away. He'd given up trying to make Graystripe see sense. They'd hardly spoken since Fireheart had brought Cloudkit into the camp. But he made an effort to take Brackenpaw out whenever Graystripe went missing, just to keep the apprentice out of sight. Fireheart knew that Tigerclaw wouldn't accept Brackenpaw's answers so easily. Finally, the full moon appeared in a cloudless sky. Fireheart came back from hunting early. He passed the fallen oak deserted, now that Swiftpaw and Speckletail's kit had recovered. He dropped his catcher in the pile and headed towards Yellowfang's den to visit Cinderpaw. Even the threat of Greenleaf Cough had left the camp now. For now. Only Cinderpaw remained with the medicine cat. As Fireheart padded through the tunnel, he could see the small gray she-cat in the clearing ahead. She was helping Yellowfang prepare some herbs. Fireheart winced as he watched Cinderpaw limp heavily towards the split rock with a mouthful of dried leaves. "Fireheart!" Cinderpaw spat out the herbs and turned to greet him as he emerged from the tunnel. "I could only just send you through these disgusting things." "Those disgusting things helped cure your leg," growled Yellowfang. "Well, you should have used more," retorted Cinderpaw, but Fireheart was relieved to see that she had a mischievous glint in her eye. "Look at this!" She twitched her twisted hind leg. "I can hardly reach my claws to wash them." "Perhaps I should have given you a few more exercises to loosen it up," meowed Yellowfang. "No thanks," meowed Cinderpaw quickly. "They hurt." "They're meant to hurt. It shows they're working." The old medicine cat turned to Fireheart. "Perhaps you'll have more luck persuading her to do them. I'm going into the forest to dig up some comfrey roots." "I'll try," Fireheart promised as Yellowfang padded past him. "You'll know if she's doing them right," the medicine cat called over her shoulder, "because she'll complain." Cinderpaw limped over to Fireheart and touched her nose to his. "Thanks for coming to see me." She sat down and grimaced as she tucked her bad leg under her. I like coming to see you, Fireheart purred. I miss our training sessions. He regretted his words as soon as he uttered them. A wistful look clouded Cinderpaw's eye. Me too, she meowed. When do you think I'll be able to start again? Fireheart stared at her, his heart sinking. Clearly, Yellowfang hadn't told her yet that she would never be a warrior. Perhaps if we try some of your exercises, it'll help, he meowed evasively. Okay, meowed Cinderpaw, but just a few. She lay on her side and stretched out her leg till her face was twisted with pain. Slowly, her teeth clenched. She began to move it backward and forward. You're doing really well, Fireheart meowed, hiding the sorrow that lay like a rock in his stomach. Cinderpaw let her leg drop and lie still for a moment. Then she pushed herself up. Fireheart watched her quietly as she shook her head. I'm never going to be a warrior, am I? Fireheart couldn't lie to her. No, he whispered. I'm so sorry, Cinderpaw. He stretched his muzzle toward her and licked her head. After a few moments, she gave a long sigh and lay down again. I knew it, really, she mewed. It's just that sometimes I dream about being in the forest, hunting with Brackenpaw. And then I wake up, and the pain in my leg reminds me I'll never hunt again. It feels too much to bear. I have to pretend that maybe one day I'll be able to hunt. Fireheart couldn't bear to see her in such low spirits. I'll take you out into the forest again, he promised. We'll find the oldest, slowest, fattest mouse in the woods. It won't stand a chance against you. Cinderpaw looked at him, purring gratefully. Fireheart purred back at her, but there was a question that had been nagging at him since the accident. Cinderpaw, he began. Can you remember what happened when the monster hit you? Was Tiger Claw there? Cinderpaw's eyes clouded with confusion. I don't know, she stammered. Fireheart felt a pang of guilt as he saw her flinch away from the memory. I went straight to the burned ash where Dustpaw and Tiger Claw would be. And then there was the monster, and I don't really remember. You wouldn't have realized how thin the verge was there. Fireheart shook his head slowly. You must have run straight onto the thunder path. Why wasn't Tiger Claw where he said he'd be? He thought with a flash of rage. He could have stopped her from running out. Princess's words rang ominously in his head. Was it a trap? He pictured Tiger Claw crouching downwind, hidden among the trees, staring out at the verge, waiting. How's Cloud Kit? Cinderpaw's mew cut short his thoughts. She clearly wanted to change the subject. Fireheart was happy to oblige, especially if it meant talking about Princess's son. Getting bigger every day, he meowed proudly. I'm dying to meet him. When are you going to bring him to visit me? As soon as Brindleface lets me, Fireheart answered. She won't let him out of her sight at the moment. She likes him then? She treats him just like her other kids, Fireheart meowed. Thanks, StarClan, to be honest. I wasn't sure if she'd take to him. He looks so different from her other kids. Even Fireheart couldn't deny that Cloud Kit's snowy pelt of soft fur looked out of place beside the other kids, with their forest-colored coats of short, matted fur. At least he gets on well with his nursery mates. Fireheart's voice trailed away. He stared at the ground, feeling a twinge of anxiety. What's the matter? Cinderpaw prompted gently. Fireheart shrugged. I'm just sick of the way some of the other cats look at him, like he's stupid or worthless. Does Cloud Kit notice these looks? Fireheart shook his head. Well, don't worry then, Cinderpaw mewed. But Cloud Kit doesn't even know he was born a kitty pet. I think he just assumes he's from a different clan. But if they keep giving him these dirty looks, he's going to realize there's something wrong with him. Fireheart looked at his paws fretfully. Something wrong with him? Echoed Cinderpaw in wonder. You were born a kitty pet. There's nothing wrong with you. Look, by the time Cloud Kit works out where he comes from, he'll be able to start proving that a kitty pet can be as good as any clan-born warrior, just like you've done. What if someone tells him before he's ready? If he's anything like you, he was born ready. When did you get so smart? Fireheart meowed, rather surprised by his apprentice's sharpness. Cinderpaw rolled onto her back with a dramatic moan. Suffering can do that to a cat. Fireheart prodded her stomach with a paw, and Cinderpaw squeaked before scrambling back on her side. No, really, she mewed. Look who I've been hanging out with lately. Fireheart tipped his head on one side questioningly. Yellowfang, you dope! Cinderpaw scoffed. She's one old sharp cat. I'm learning a lot. She sat up. Yellowfang said there's a gathering tonight. Are you going? I don't know, Fireheart admitted. I'm going to ask Bluestar later. I'm not exactly popular with the clan at the moment. They'll get over it, Cinderpaw promised. She nudged his shoulder. Shouldn't you go and find out if you're going then? They'll be leaving soon. You're right, Fireheart replied. Will you be okay till Yellowfang gets back? Do you want me to fetch you some fresh kill? I'll be fine, Cinderpaw assured him. And Yellowfang will bring me some. She always does. I'm going to be the fattest cat in the clan by the time she's finished with me. Fireheart felt a burst of happiness to see his former apprentice recovering her spirit. He was tempted to stay and keep her company, but she was right. He should find out if he could go to the gathering. I'll see you tomorrow then, he meowed. There should be plenty of news from the gathering. Yeah, and I want to hear it all, Cinderpaw mewed. Make sure Bluestar lets you go. Quick! I'm going, Fireheart retorted, getting to his paws. Bye, Cinderpaw. Bye! Fireheart stopped at the edge of the clearing and looked around for Bluestar. She was talking with Willowpout outside her den. Fireheart reached them just as Willowpout stood up to leave. The slender gray warrior nodded to Fireheart as she pattered away. Bluestar gazed at Fireheart with knowing eyes. You want to go to the gathering, she mewed. Fireheart opened his mouth to speak, but Bluestar interrupted him. All the warriors want to go tonight, but I can't take every cat. Fireheart felt disappointed. I wanted to see Wind Clan again, he explained, to find out how they'd be getting on since Greystripe and I brought them home. Bluestar narrowed her eyes. I don't need reminding of what you did for Wind Clan, she meowed sharply, and Fireheart flinched. But you are right to be concerned, Bluestar went on. You and Greystripe may come to the gathering tonight. Thank you, Bluestar, Fireheart meowed. It'll be an interesting gathering, Bluestar warned him. River Clan and Shadow Clan have much to explain. Fireheart felt his ears twitch nervously, but he couldn't help feeling a thrill of excitement as well. Bluestar clearly meant to challenge Cricketstar and Nightstar about their invasions into ThunderClan territory. He dipped his head respectfully to Bluestar and pattered away. As he collected 2 bowls for Brindleface from the pile of fresh kill, Fireheart noticed Yellowfang trudging into the camp. Her paws were muddy, and her mouth was crammed with fat, knobbly roots. Her search for comfrey had clearly been successful. Fireheart carried the fresh kill over to the nursery. Brindleface was curled up inside, feeding Cloudkit. The other kids had recently given up their mother's milk, and soon Cloudkit, too, would have his first taste of fresh kill. Brindleface looked up as he entered, her eyes shadowed with concern. I just sent for Yellowfang, she meowed. Fireheart was instantly alarmed. Is there something wrong with Cloudkit? He's been a little feverish today. Brindleface leaned down and licked the kit's head as he stopped feeding and began squirming restlessly. It's probably nothing, but I thought I'd see what Yellowfang thought. I don't want to take any chances. Fireheart remembered that the Dappled Queen had recently lost a kid, and he hoped she was just being overcautious. But Cloudkit did look uncomfortable. I'll come and see you after the gathering, he promised. He ducked out of the nursery and headed back to the pile of fresh kill to pick out his own food. Brindleface's news had spoiled his appetite, but he knew he should eat something before their journey to Fortress tonight. Longtail and Dustpaw were already standing over the pile. Fireheart sat down and waited for them to leave. Haven't seen Cloud Chick today, meowed Longtail. Fireheart felt a familiar ripple of frustration at Longtail's snid comment. He's probably realized how silly he looks and decided to hide in the nursery, meowed Dustpaw. I'd like to be there when he tries hunting for the first time. They'll prey'll spot him coming a tree length away from all that white fluff, Longtail sneered. Unless they mistake him for a puffball mushroom. Dustpaw's whiskers twitched as he threw a sideways glance at Fireheart. Fireheart flattened his ears and looked away. He watched Yellowfang hurry into the nursery with a mouthful of feverfew. And unfortunately, Longtail and Dustpaw noticed too. Looks like the kitty pet's caught a chill. What a surprise, sneered Longtail. Goldenflower's right. He won't last through Leaf Bear. The tabby warrior turned and stared at Fireheart, waiting for a reaction. And Fireheart ignored him and walked over to the pile of fresh kill. He chose a thrush and carried it away to eat, feeling drained by the endless spite. Graystripe was sharing his meal with Running Wind by the nettle clump. Hi, did you have a good hunt? Running Wind called as Fireheart passed. Yeah, thanks, Fireheart replied. Graystripe didn't look up. Bluestar said you could go to the gathering, Fireheart told Graystripe. I know, Graystripe answered, still chewing. Are you going? Fireheart turned to Running Wind. You bet I wouldn't miss this one for anything. Fireheart patted on and found a quiet spot at the edge of the clearing. Longtail's words echoed in his head. Would the clan ever accept this little white kit? Fireheart closed his eyes and began to wash himself. As he turned to lick his side, his whiskers brushed against something. He opened his eyes to find Sandpaw standing beside him. Her orange pelt glowed silver beneath the rising moon. Thought you might like some company, she meowed. She sat down and began to wash Fireheart's back with long, soothing strokes. Through half-closed eyes, Fireheart caught a glimpse of Dustpaw staring from outside the apprentice's den, unable to disguise his envy and amazement. Dustpaw wasn't the only one surprised by Sandpaw's gesture. Fireheart hadn't expected such friendliness from this fiery young she-cat, but her warmth was welcome, and he wasn't going to question it. Are you going to the gathering? He asked. Sandpaw paused. Yes. You? Yes. I think Bluestar's going to challenge Crookestar and Nightstar about their hunting. He waited for Sandpaw to reply, but she was staring up at the darkening sky. I wish I was going as a warrior, she murmured. Fireheart tensed, but for once there was no hint of jealousy or bitterness in her mew. Fireheart felt awkward. He knew his training had started after Sandpaw's, and he had been a warrior for more than 2 moons already. It can't be long until Bluestar gives you your warrior name, he meowed, trying to sound encouraging. Why do you think it's taking so long? Sandpaw asked, turning her pale green eyes on Fireheart. I don't know, he admitted. Bluestar's been ill, and there's RiverClan and ShadowClan causing trouble. I guess she's got other things in her mind. You'd think she'd need warriors more than ever, meowed Sandpaw. Fireheart felt a stab of sympathy. I suppose she's just waiting for the right time. He knew it didn't sound very helpful, but it was all he could think of to say. Maybe by New Leaf, Sandpaw sighed. When do you think you'll get a new apprentice? Bluestar hasn't said anything yet. Perhaps she'll give you Cloud Kit when he's old enough. I hope so. Fireheart stared across the clearing at the nursery, wondering if Yellowfang had finished treating Cloud Kit. If he makes it that far. Of course he'll make it, Sandpaw meowed confidently. But he has a fever. Fireheart let his shoulders sag with worry. All kits get fevers, Sandpaw retorted. With his thick fur, he'll recover in no time. That coat's gonna be handy in Leaf Bear. Perfect for hunting in the snow. The prey will never see him coming, and he'll be able to stay out twice as long as Thin Pelts like Longtail. Fireheart purred, and he felt himself relax. Sandpaw had lifted his spirits again. He stood and gave her a brisk lick on the head. Come on, he meowed. Bluestar is calling the cats for the gathering. They joined the other cats beside the camp entrance, a silent, purposeful group. Bluestar signaled to them with a flick of her tail, then led them through the gorse tunnel and out of the ravine. The forest glistened in the cold moonlight as they sprinted towards 4 trees. Clouds of breath billowed from Fireheart's muzzle, and the forest floor felt frozen beneath his paws. For the first time since Fireheart had joined the clan, Blue Star didn't hesitate at the ridge above Four Trees to prepare herself for the meeting. Instead, her cats followed their leader wordlessly as she plunged straight down the slope and into the clearing. Chapter 23. River Clan and Shadow Clan had not arrived yet, but Wind Clan was already there. Tall Star greeted Blue Star with a respectful nod. Fireheart spotted One Whisker and battered over to meet him. "Hi," he meowed. It had been over 2 moons since he'd last seen the small brown tabby warrior who had battled beside him at the gorge. For the first time in ages, Fireheart recalled White Claw's death and felt the familiar bristle of horror as he pictured the River Clan warrior disappearing beneath the rushing river. "Where's Graystripe?" One Whisker asked. "Is he okay?" Fireheart could see from the concern in his eyes that the Wind Clan warrior was thinking about White Claw's death too. "He's fine," Fireheart answered. "He's over there with the others." Fireheart remembered the Wind Clan queen, whose kit he helped to carry. "How's Morning Flower?" "Happy to be home," replied One Whisker. "Her kit is growing quickly now." Fireheart purred with pleasure. "The whole clan is well," One Whisker added. He glanced at Fireheart with an amused gleam in his eyes. "It's great to eat rabbit again. I hope I never have to taste another rat as long as I live." Fireheart detected a fresh scent on the night air. River Clan was coming. He could smell Shadow Clan, too. He scanned the ridge that ran around the edge of the hollow. Sure enough, River Clan cats were streaming down one side. On the opposite ridge, Fireheart saw Shadow Clan cats poised at the top, their coats gleaming in the moonlight. The lean figure of Nightstar stood at the head of the group. "At last," growled One Whisker. He spotted them as well. "It's too cold to be hanging around tonight." Fireheart nodded absently. He was searching the crowd of River Clan cats as they entered the clearing, looking for Silverstream. He recognized the pale gray she-cat easily. She skidded to a halt at the bottom of the slope, then followed her father as he exchanged reserved greetings with the warriors from the other clans. Nervously, Fireheart scanned the growing throng of cats for Graystripe. Would he dare speak to Silverstream tonight? The Grey Warrior had his back to Silverstream while he talked with a Wind Clan warrior. Fireheart was watching Graystripe so closely that he didn't even hear Deadfoot approach. "Good evening, Fireheart," meowed the Wind Clan deputy. "How are you?" Fireheart turned. "Hello," he meowed. "I'm fine, thank you." Deadfoot nodded. "Good," he meowed and limped away. One Whisker gave Fireheart a friendly nudge. "You're privileged." Fireheart felt a small glimmer of pride. Blue Star's yell sounded from the great rock. Fireheart turned and looked up, surprised. The leaders didn't usually call a meeting so soon. Crooked Star and Nightstar were standing close together on the rock. Blue Star waited beside Tall Star for the cats to gather beneath them. It was the first time Fireheart had seen the Wind Clan leader at a gathering, he realized with a jolt. Fireheart and One Whisker followed the other cats as they settled themselves beneath the rock. Fireheart looked up expectantly, waiting for Blue Star to welcome Tall Star and Wind Clan back, but the Thunder Clan leader was clearly in no mood to waste time on friendly words. "River Clan has been hunting on Sunning Rocks again," she began angrily. "Our patrols have scented your warriors many times, Crooked Star. Sunning Rocks belong to Thunder Clan." Crooked Star met Blue Star's gaze steadily. "Have you forgotten how recently one of our warriors was killed defending our territory from Thunder Clan?" "You had no need to defend your territory," Blue Star answered. "My warriors were not hunting there. They were returning home after finding Wind Clan. It was a mission we all agreed on. According to the warrior code, they should not have been attacked." "You speak of the warrior code," spat Crooked Star. What about the Thunder Clan warrior who's been spying on our territory since then?" Blue Star was caught off guard. "Warrior?" she echoed. "Have you seen him?" "Not yet," Crooked Star hissed. "But we find his scent so often it won't be long before we do." Fireheart glanced at Graystripe in alarm. He knew only too well which warrior had been detected in Crooked Star's territory. Would any of the River Clan warriors recognize his scent tonight? Graystripe sat motionless, not taking his eyes off the leaders on the Great Rock. Tiger Claw's deep growl sounded from the crowd. We have such a Shadow Clan in our territory, as well as River Clan, this past moon. And not just one warrior, but a whole patrol. Always the same cats. The Shadow Clan leader's eyes flashed indignantly. Shadow Clan has not been in your territory. Clearly, your warriors can't tell the difference in the scent of cats outside their own clan. You have been smelling the scent of rogue cats. They have been stealing prey from our territory as well. Tiger Claw snorted in disbelief, and Nightstar glared down at him. Do you doubt the word of Shadow Clan, Tiger Claw? The crowd murmured uncomfortably as Tiger Claw stared back at Nightpout with unconcealed distrust. For the first time, Tall Star spoke, his tail twitching uncertainly. My warriors have also found strange scents in Wind Clan territory. They seem to be Shadow Clan. I knew it, snarled Tiger Claw. River Clan and Shadow Clan have united against us. Us? What do you mean by us? Spat Crooked Star. I think it's you and Wind Clan that have formed the alliance. Is that why you were so keen to bring them back? So you could use them to invade the rest of the forest? Tall Star's fur bristled. That's not why we returned, and you know it. We have kept to our own hunting grounds these past moons. Then why have we found strange warrior scents in our territory? Crooked Star growled. They don't belong to Wind Clan, hissed Tall Star. They must be rogue cats, as Nightstar says. But rogue cats would be a convenient excuse for invading our territories, would they not? Blue Star murmured. She stared dangerously at the River Clan and Shadow Clan leaders. Crooked Star raised his hackles, and Nightstar arched his back. With a flash of alarm, Fireheart saw Tiger Claw stand up and stalk toward the Great Rock, every muscle tensed. Would the leaders really fight at a gathering? At that moment, a shadow fell across the valley. The cats fell silent as they were plunged into blackness. Fireheart looked up, trembling. A cloud had covered the full moon completely, blocking out its light. Star Clan has sent the darkness! Fireheart recognized the meow of Halftail, a ThunderClan elder. The Shadow Clan medicine cat yelled in agreement. Star Clan is angry. These meetings are meant to be held in peace. Running Nose is right. It was Yellowfang. We shouldn't be fighting among ourselves, especially during Leaf Bear. We should be worrying about keeping our clan safe. Her voice echoed in the frightened silence. We must listen to Star Clan. Chapter 24. Tall Star spoke up, a dim silhouette on the top of the Great Rock. The gathering is over by the will of Star Clan. The crowd murmured in agreement. The air was thick with a sense of fear and hostility. Come, ThunderClan! Fireheart could barely see Blue Star as she leaped down from the Great Rock and headed for the edge of the clearing. He pushed his way through the other cats and hurried after her. He saw the massive outline of Tiger Claw as the deputy fellow stepped beside his leader, and the pale gray shapes of the other ThunderClan cats as they gathered behind the two great warriors. No cat spoke as they trekked solemnly up the slope towards home. Fireheart glanced over his shoulder. The other clans were withdrawing too. By the time he reached the top of the slope, Four Trees was deserted. Lena ended there. Okay, so a lot just happened right now. We're digesting a little bit. I want to digest the clan meeting start right now. So a cloud happened to go cross over the moon, the full moon. It cast the shadows. That they took it to understood as Star Clan was angry. Now, this isn't the first, nor will it be the last time that a clan gathering has been affected by a natural event, a natural weather event. And the fact that they were really ready to do that, and the second that Star Clan became in question, speaks volumes on how much these cats truly believe in Star Clan. They truly believe in their warrior ancestors. Okay. So, it's always the same sense of Shadow Clan that's being scented in other territories, it seems. Not just Thunder Clan. It seems like possibly River and Wind Clan as well. So, a few things could be happening. River Clan and Shadow Clan could be in an alliance together, and they could be just lying. Or maybe there is some rogues. Now, if memory serves me right, in the first book, you remember Shadow Clan's previous leader? Why Wind Clan was even driven out of their lands in the first place and had to literally be brought back home? Yeah, Thunder Clan helped drive out Broken Star, which was the previous leader. But he wasn't killed. So this makes it interesting because he wasn't killed. He was a clan leader. Does he still have his 9 lives? Or was Nightstar given those lives? Or do we have a situation where there's literally 2 incredibly powerful Shadow Clan cats running around right now? Where one is Nightstar, the actual leader, and the other one is a rogue? Do you think we got a 9-star rogue on our hands? Like a 9-live rogue on our hands? I don't know. I guess we'll find out. At least we do know the answer that Cloud Kit for now has been grudgingly accepted. But I am going to point out he didn't get a naming ceremony. Blue Star didn't give him a naming ceremony. Kind of odd. A little out of character for her, it seems. But who knows? I guess we'll find out. We are getting close to the end of the second book. So, please be safe out there in this crazy, mixed up universe of ours, okay? Because it's crazy out there. People are nuts. Be safe. I hope you have a good day. Bye.